if I had one wish, and I keep on telling my wife this for my 60th birthday, is see Coldplay live.
Oh wow.
But no chance.
So today I'm incredibly excited because I'm here with a real estate rock star. He won't say that about himself, but he is. It's this guy, my boss, and Lord Andrew Hay. So welcome, you're the first one to do Maria Meets. Excited?
Maria, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be on Maria Meets. Of course I am.
I would like to say I'm not sure how this is going to go, but we'll see. Because I have a great relationship with Andy, and that's one thing I love about Knight Frank is that although he's my boss, based in London, I'm in Dubai. I like to think we've got quite a close working relationship.
You know we do. And look, Knight Frank's all about people, and you're a big part of that heartbeat. And it's dynamic, it's relationships, it's passion, it's all those things that come together.
Yeah. Well, enough about me, because I've only been at Knight Frank 5 years. What I want to talk about is you and your 37 years, I believe, at Knight Frank?
Yes, longer than you've been alive.
Not quite. Sadly. We'll
was
edit that
I
out.
was just trying to be nice.
So tell me a little bit, can we put 37 years into a few minutes? Tell me a little bit about your journey at Knight Frank.
It's been the most extraordinary journey. I joined Knight Frank, there are 271 people, there's now 19,000 people across 60 countries and 500 offices. And it's still a private business, and it still feels like a family, and that to me is amazing. Some amazing client relationships as well, who've become huge friends. If you deal with someone for 3 decades, you become part of their family. They become part of our family. So I will miss all of that. But in terms of real achievements, I mean, the success of Knight Frank has been phenomenal. Its standing in the world has been phenomenal. You look at Dubai, where we were 20 years ago. We've now got a wonderful business. I mean, that's just repeated itself all the way around the globe. So which one do I choose? The Wealth Report, our thought leadership. Dubai, I've been told to choose Dubai. Dubai, of course, Dubai. And actually, fun enough, we had our Group Exec Board Strategy Day yesterday. We talked about a lot of our big regions, a lot of the big countries, the big business we have. And actually, Dubai was a really brief chat because it's going so well and it's so well run by some great people.
Amazing. I didn't pay you to say that, did I?
No,
that's actually
no,
true.
that's true. That's true. Could you stop twisting my arm now, please?
Yeah, enough about that. So, I was reading your interview in our Private View magazine, which has just launched, and there's a little bit about your background and sort of your legacy, I suppose, that you're leaving at Knight Frank. So, what interests Andy Hay outside of work? Like, what drives you to come into the office every day? What's your passion outside of work?
My passion outside of work is my family, my freedom, wide open spaces. I mean, I love the cut and thrust of Knight Frank. I love being part of a global business. I love working in the heart of London. I'm competitive, I'm ambitious, I'm passionate. And so all of that's really exciting and really drives the energy and the adrenaline. But I also love remote wild places where there are no people and just getting away. So the polarity, the complete diversity of those two things, I find hugely compelling. And I came from a very remote place in the middle of nowhere. I never had a bicycle. I never went to a children's party because there weren't any children. There weren't any parties. My wife thinks it was a dysfunctional childhood. I think it was absolutely fantastic childhood. But I love the extreme of that, and I love the extreme of working in a global HQ for a fabulous company.
Yeah, I think it's good to have a balance of both. Like, we can always get quite caught up with running at 100 miles an hour. I know I'm very guilty of that, but I think you do need that balance of...
well, contrast is great. I love contrast because each reminds you of the other and just heightens the experience.
And talk about living remotely, even now, never mind your childhood. I can remember when you were supposed to fly to Dubai for one of our events a couple of years ago, and you said, we might have a problem because I've had to get the tractor out to clear the snow from the driveway.
Yeah, that's all right. So, I thought we weren't going to mention Dubai again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're not going to slip it in.
Does it ever snow in Dubai?
No, only on the artificial ski slope that we have in one of
the
walls.
I forgot.
Another plug there for Dubai. Andy, I know it's a bit of a cliche question, but I love asking this one. But who, outside of Knight Frank, just in your career, who inspires you? Or who have you always sort of looked up to in terms of someone, whether it's in business or outside of business, that...
I think there's two answers to that question. I've had three or four role models. My father played a massive part in my sort of formative years, like with lots of parents. Unfortunately, he died when I was very young. I then had a housemaster at school who was just unbelievable. So he was an army chaplain, he was a school minister, he was a prop for Scotland, he'd done his training in Harlem in the 1960s, he'd been through life.
Yeah.
He was the most wonderful man. And then when I joined Knight Frank, I was so lucky to have two bosses in quick succession who were just amazing mentors. And that was just complete luck. And I guess a little bit of that rubbed off on me. But if forgetting the Knight Frank piece, if I had my life again, I know you haven't quite asked this question, but it's really relevant.
Yeah.
If I had my question again, the person I would want to be is a guy called Gianni Agnelli, who was head of the Agnelli family in the 70s, who were one of the big industrial families in northern Italy who owned Fiat and Ferrari. Mm-hmm. And he was half amazing politician, half amazing businessman, half, I know that's three halves, but didn't quite work, half unbelievably international playboy. He was an absolute rock star.
If you could buy 3 properties right now, anywhere in the world, what would they be and where?
I think I would go for something which is a sound boring investment with growth. So at the moment I'd probably go into central London. I know that's dull, but you look at the wealth report and it keeps on telling you London's going to do well. And Chelsea SW3 is hugely undervalued. It's not particularly interesting, but actually it's going to do really well. Yeah. So that's a sort of simple one. I think I'd then want somewhere in the sun, and look, there's lots of places in the world I can choose, the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, but actually why not Dubai and Royal Atlantis?
I wasn't leading you into that.
No, I know you weren't, but actually it is superb value and it is remarkable architecture and it's being executed really well. So that would be a great pick. And then I guess my wife would kill me if I didn't do something in retirement living. No, I'm joking. In terms of a ski location.
In our global network, who's your favourite head of residential?
I look after 60 countries around the world, and there's some fabulous people. I have to say it's remarkable. I mean, I've worked in the UK business for a long time, and I've worked in the overseas business for the last decade. And some of my strongest relationships actually in the overseas one. Why? Because in a funny sort of way, you've got bigger challenges, so you work closer and harder together. And when you work at a distance, you have to put something extra into that relationship to make it work. And within that network, that we have some amazing ladies. And Maria Morris in Dubai would be right at the top of that list.
Good answer. Good answer. You know, we were talking about one of our mutual clients and how we're going to assist them with something in Europe and the US. And I'm based in the Middle East and he's based here, yet we're looking after them.
Yeah, but you're not based in the Middle East. You're based in one of the global gateway hubs, as far as I can see. I mean, everything that's going on in Dubai in terms of its foresight and its investment and its infrastructure and its connectivity, it's not the Middle East. It's a real focal point.
Yeah. You know, we're very, very close with our colleagues across the network, aren't we? So I think that's testament.
And fun enough, that radiates out to our clients. Yeah. And whether they're clients that we're servicing on an individual basis or they're our big institutional clients, I think they really sense that. Yeah. And they know that brings the network together.
Yeah. 2020 is an interesting one because I think it's going to be incredibly exciting next year. But what I'm looking forward to is actually what comes after 2020. And I think His Highness has been remarkable in setting a vision going forward.
So the legacy of 2020.
Yeah, exactly. And that it doesn't just become a one-off event, that actually it's the investment into the city off the back of it that continues that, you know, upward trajectory and where Dubai is going over a longer period of time. It's not just all about 2020. So I'm incredibly excited to see where we go after 2020.
So it's the opening of a new chapter.
Yeah, I think so. Dubai's always been evolving. I mean, it's a very young city, you know, it's only sort of 40, 50 years old. So it's incredible to see how every decade
and what attracted you to Dubai?
Dubai, I used to spend a lot of time in Dubai when I worked for my previous company. And it always...
A large independent house builder.
Exactly, but I probably shouldn't say the best, but it was certainly one of my favourite companies that I worked with before I was at Knight Frank. And we had an office there at the time, and I used to spend a lot of time in Dubai, and it was always an area that interested me. But I think the city as a whole, the overall positivity, the leadership, the growth, and the fact that it's maturing more now. If you'd have asked me 10 years ago would I have moved to Dubai, probably not, but it's a different place now, it's a different city, and that's exciting, it's a challenge.
Well, we're very lucky to have you there.
Yeah. Well, it's been a great journey. I mean, we started off with, I think there was probably a handful of us in the residential team, and now we're growing that And it's still baby steps, but it's lovely to see what the team are achieving. So, what music do you like? Do you listen to music? What do you do to unwind when you're going home in the car?
I listen to music. I mean, wide-ranging music.
Yeah.
Everything from mad Scottish music through to classical music, punk, rock.
Amazing.
I
expected you to have a diverse.
No, and music is really, really important. So when I come into this wonderful global HQ we've got here in 55 Baker Street each morning, I'm listening to music because it sets me up for the day. And when I retire, I'm going to walk 1,000 kilometres on the 3rd of April 2020. And part of that, you have to walk 25 miles a day for 35 days is quite hard work for an old man like myself. And you have to have a real discipline of how you run your day. And one of the disciplines is you don't allow yourself to listen to music for the first 2/3 of the day. But when you're getting quite fatigued and you need someone to pick you up and take you the last 10 miles or whatever it is, you get into the music.
That's amazing. I love music, and I use it as a kind of inspirational motivation.
You're sort of girl band person, I guess, aren't you?
No, I don't. No, I'm not really a girl band kind of person.
But if I had one wish, and I keep on telling my wife this for my 60th birthday, is see Coldplay live.
Oh wow.
But no chance.
Oh.
Apparently they're not doing anything
not
at the
doing
moment.
Okay.
So I've said just get them in.
Well,
Get them in the garden.
I was going to say, it's just a private gig with Coldplay. Maybe we can speak to people who can speak to people.
So if I wasn't Gianni Agnelli, maybe
Chris Martin.
Yeah, maybe,
okay.
maybe.
And the other thing, I know I keep asking you your favourite or your best, and I know there are hundreds and thousands probably over 37 years, but what about some of the events that we do globally?
We started a thing called the Wealth Report 13 years ago, which is our thought leadership piece on ultra high net worth investment around the world. It reflected $1 trillion of investment now, and now reflects $3 trillion of private client investment into real estate, and we take it to 34 cities. And we have done some remarkable launches. In Dubai, some really high profile events, whether it be in Hong Kong, whether it be in Australia. Fun enough, Mumbai is a particular favourite of mine, and I remember 2 or 3 years ago, you turned up at the event and you engaged with this enormous audience of 600 Indian high net worths, and you were absolutely superb, and you really represented the brand incredibly well. I was very proud of the report, and you.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I can remember turning up to my first Wealth Report launch in Mumbai, and talk about sensory overload. I mean, we'd gone from having a very sort of small forum in Dubai of 75 to 100 people, and then you turn up and Shashir, our colleague at Knight Frank India, like say he puts on this.
Well, it's a rock concert.
Yeah.
It's a rock concert. There's
there
a fashion
Bollywood
show.
Dancers
There's a vodka luge. There's cars. There's dinner. There's music. There's colour, and amazing rich people.
Yeah.
And in the middle of that, we deliver this fantastic piece of research.
Yeah. It was just phenomenal. I mean, we've been back every year since. I think one of my fondest memories actually of the first one I went to, and I'm not going to say the story that you think I'm going to say, which we can do another time for Maria Meets the Outtakes, because we might need to do a tonic to talk about that one. But it was actually, we had His Highness Prince Michael of Kent with us, didn't we? And
you spent most of the time in a white Rolls Royce with Prince Michael. I remember that.
That's what I was going to say.
He said it was one of his best overseas trips in 60 years.
And now he does have a lot of stories. We need to set up. Can I do Maria Meets with him? We need to make that happen in the back of a Rolls Royce in Mumbai.
And he's a very charming, smooth operator, isn't he?
Oh, he was amazing. I could have listened to him all day. So Andy, 37 years, an amazing career at Knight Frank. But I'm very much a big supporter of looking at the new young people coming into our industry and how we can help and guide and motivate them. So what would be your one piece of advice, not one piece, but your best piece of advice for sort of young people coming into the real estate industry now?
I think, look, I've been very lucky at Knight Frank and seen it grow, and it's been a huge privilege to be a little part of that. But and the lesson I've learnt the most, and it's to do with 2 words really, is care and passion. Particularly passion. If you want to be absolutely outstanding in whatever it is in the world, you have to be completely passionate about it. And tragically, I probably only really learnt that lesson. I guess I sort of knew about it, but only in the last few years. And I met a person who displayed the most passion I've ever seen in a human being. And he happens to be at the very top of his field in the profession he has. He's actually a wine grower, and he was quite remarkable. So I think young people coming to the business, you have to be passionate about people, you have to be passionate about property, and you have to be passionate about giving really good advice and fantastic service. Yes, you've got to have energy, yes, you've got to be flexible, yes, you've got to be prepared to change very quickly because the world moves so fast now. All of that, and you need to be brilliant at technology, and technology is going to change our industry enormously, but overarching all of that, you have to have this passion for people, property and service. You sort of have to have the servant's heart in a good way.
Yeah. Well, I think no one would ever doubt that you are so passionate, and it's been something that has certainly resonated with me over the last 5 years of working with you. And your passion keeps me inspired, so thank you. And we're not even going to talk about next year because I'm pretending that he's not retiring next year, and that you'll continue to be my boss for forevermore. But it's been an absolute pleasure.
But you will just continue to do what I've been doing, and you will take it up, and you will do exactly the same. And that's the beauty of Knight Frank.
Yeah.
And there's this wonderful saying, isn't there, which I know I've said 100 times, but I really do believe it so sincerely, is be a good ancestor, plant trees that you'll never see. And that's what we do. For our clients and for those who are going to follow and do even better than my generation's done.
I don't know
so
about
it's
that,
over to you. You'll be absolutely brilliant. I know you will.
Thank you. Well, look, thank you for being the first special guest on Marine.
It's a huge privilege.
It might only be, you might be the only guest on Maria Meets. We'll have to see how that goes.
I think it's a lovely concept, and I think there'll be lots. It's a really engaging concept.
Thank you. Well, a lot of people were saying, we go to these amazing places, we've got the most amazing colleagues, we engage with, fantastic clients, and also brand partners, and all sorts. So a lot of people were sort of asking about what that's like, and what do our roles look like. So I thought it would be nice to take 5 minutes.
And you interview really well.
Well, thank you. Well, I've got a coffee, so as long as I've got a coffee,
but it's not coffee.
Yeah, it's first thing in the morning. If it's later, it might be something else. Thank you so much. You are.
Is that a wrap?
Yeah, that's a wrap. Have you worked on that for us yet?
I hope so.
We'll do a pincer movement. You speak to the team, I'll speak to the team. We'll make sure that we're guests of honour at the grand opening.